Hi everyone, in today's DIY projects we're going to be crafting using my new XTool S1 laser machine. These are all practice projects, so I'm going to be using some cheap materials from the Dollar Tree and also from the Home Depot. So I plan on using this machine to start a small business in my apartment. My apartment is very small. The only place I had to set this up was in my kitchen. So I made sure that the exhaust was working correctly. I bought an inline fan. I chose to do this on my own, but XTool does sell an inline fan setup. They currently have their Halloween sale going on, so I'll leave all their information down in the description box. XTools sent me this machine in exchange for my video. They sent me the 2 watts module and they also sent the 40 watt. It came assembled. All I had to do was add the exhaust hose. And the power button is in the back, and that's an emergency stop. This was my first time turning on the machine. After I pressed the power button in the back, then I had to twist that red knob. The first thing I did was I started testing materials, and these are some wood pieces that I have, and I'm just testing to see what I can cut with the machine. This is the plywood. It's 1/3 of an inch, and this is 3/4 of an inch 1x3. It did not cut all the way through, but the claim on this S1 is that it can cut up to 2/3 of an inch, so I'm not surprised. And this is a hardwood. The next piece that I cut was also 3/4 of an inch, but it's a soft type of wood. I'll take it to the Home Depot and they should be able to give me the type of wood that it is, and so I can use this for my projects. I also engraved on some Dollar Tree mirror, and I tested a few products before I started to make anything. It also did good on metal business cards and license plates. This is a Dollar Tree mirror. I'm going to be cutting out some MDF pieces to decorate this mirror. My phone was acting up, so I'm going to show you what I've been doing so far. The XTool software is XCS, and we can do a lot in this software, but let me show you what I've done so far with this one. On the next project, I'll show you a little bit more. See where those red dots are on the shape? The machine allows me to take the exact measurement of the mirror. Then I went into the shapes menu and I'm picking out the hexagon shape, and I'm choosing 2 of them. One is for the edge of the mirror and the next one is for the inside of the edge. Okay, so that's how we got our frame. Now I have a flower that I'm going to be adding onto the frame, and I want it to line up right there. So I stretched it to cover the corners, so I have my exact size for my flower. The S1 does not have a camera on the inside, so I have to manually mark my working area. The piece of wood that I'm using is MDF. It's rectangle, so I have to choose 2 points, and I'll go in depth a little bit more. I'll show you how that's done on the next project. Now if you notice, all the red marks are gone from my hexagon shape, and they're now at the 2 corners of the rectangle. That's my working area. That's a piece of wood that I have in there that I'm going to cut from. So I'll just arrange my pieces so they can fit. I selected my flower and I'm going to outline it at 0.079. And this part will be a second layer that I'm going to cut. I want a backing. I want to offset it just a little bit. Let me delete this one. I just need 1 flower. Okay, now I can move this over and I'll arrange it so they can fit on my canvas. Now I'm selecting the flower again and I'm going to outline it at 0.04. And this one will be staying around the flower. And this is the cut line. Okay, so I'm going to set cut at 110 and I'm lowering the focus by 3. And that should give me a nice cut. Then for the inner part of the flower, I'm going to engrave that. And my engrave settings are 30 power, 250 speed, and 180 lines. Here's my piece of MDF. I spray painted it gold. I also thought about putting some butterflies, but I set those to ignore so the machine won't cut them. And here are my pieces, and this was a perfect cut. Like this machine, it measures it so well. I actually prefer that it has no camera. I think it's more accurate than my M1. Now I'm just cleaning my pieces just with dish soap and water. I took them outside and I'm spray painting the back because they're going to be showing in the mirror. And I actually like the back, so I'm going to be turning that part upwards. Now I'm going to glue my pieces together. I'm just laying the mirror on top, marking it with my pen. Then to attach my pieces, I'm using my Aleene's mixed media adhesive. And this part won't be showing after it's glued together. Now for my flowers, this is the backing piece and I cut that from the white MDF. And this part was from the gold. Now I'll just glue both of them together. I'm placing this extra piece on top just to avoid any scratches. I'm going to be clamping them until they dry. Now they're dry. I'm going to be using this instant wood glue and I'll just glue the pieces together. And here's how this project turned out, guys. I hope you like this one. Now let's move on to the next project. I'm going to be using these wooden squares from the Dollar Tree and each one measures 3.3 millimeters. I'm using 3 pieces. I'm going to be making a Christmas ornament. I designed this 3-layer ornament and I wouldn't dare to record this process because it took me about 6 hours to figure out just one simple step. It's so easy. But I'll show you a couple steps in the next projects, okay? I'm just lining up all the pieces, taking away some of the elements. I just want the outline. This piece will be the back. I just want the frame, so I'm deleting all these extra pieces on the inside. And then I'm grouping them all together and I'm going to be cutting. My cut settings is 100 power, 10 speed, and offset 3. I'm scoring the design on the deer and I'm using the MDF presets. And this project is going to take 7 minutes and 26 seconds. The machine tells you how long it will take and it actually took 7 minutes and 35 seconds. So the timing is mostly accurate. It may be less, it may be more by up to 30 seconds. And here I am cutting it on the MDF after I was done with the Dollar Tree wooden pieces. And I mostly use the Dollar Tree supplies just for my initial test. If I'm going to be selling these ornaments, the material to use would be the MDF. And here's my final set. I actually did this a few times where I did not cut out the leg of the deer. So each time I did it, I got better. Here's the first set with Dollar Tree pieces, and I was also learning this instant glue. It did not give me much time to align the pieces. So the glue is another thing that I'm learning. So this was my first try with the MDF. I just did 2 layers. Then my second try, and then I did not get the legs correct. So here's my third. And I'm just gluing all the pieces together. And here's how this project turned out, guys. I hope you like this one. I also made a set of 4 coasters from the Dollar Tree cutting boards from 2 of them. And these are the bamboo cutting boards, and the machine cut and engraved the pieces nicely. And here they are. I'm just exploring all the options right now. So I'm testing a lot of items. These are ceramic coasters. I spray painted one side. One side I left blank, so I'm going to show you the difference with what the spray paint can do and how it engraved without the spray paint. The darker side is with the spray paint and this side is without. And I'll insert the settings on the screen. And I made these 4 coasters for a friend and she loved them. So let's move on. I'm going to show you around the XCS software. This is how it looks when you first open it. First, you'll see your projects. Then they'll show you some recommended projects and what's trending. And they're all free, most of them. They also have files that you can buy or just design your own projects. I'm a total novice and I did it. And this space is called the Design Find. So let's search for something. Search Halloween. Let's search for a Halloween mirror. And here you have a few, and This is one that they use the S1 to make. And whichever machine you have, just search by your machine and they'll show you the recommended. Most of the projects have instructions. You can download it or open it right in the XCS software. There's also an AI function that you can use prompts to generate your own images. And here's a gallery that you can choose from, or just choose your own prompts. I'm not good at prompting, but let's type something. A silhouette of a tiger on a mountain. Let's see what it generates. This was another one I did, a 3D bee in its nest with honey dripping. It's close to what I was thinking, but not exactly. And here's what they gave us. Not bad. And you can just open that in the software and the image is yours. No copyright issues. Now I'm going to work on my next project. I'm going to be engraving a mirror. So I'm looking for an image, and this is all within the XCS software. I'm going to be using this web. I'm setting my size. I want it to be 9 inches, and I'm also adding a spider. And this is a good project for Halloween. I'm going to be using a 12 by 12 mirror. I'm just placing these little wooden cubes from the Dollar Tree. That way my mirror is not sitting directly on my honeycomb tray. I mark the processing area in my machine. That's my mirror. Now I'll just place my web directly inside of my mark. And I only mark where I wanted my web to be. Now I'm going to be engraving 40 power, 310 speed, and 180 lines. It's actually taken more time than I thought. It actually took 49 minutes. But it's a large space. I did it at 9 3/4 inches wide. And here's how this turned out. It's nice and frosty. Now I'm going to make it dark. I'm painting it black. So I'm painting in the back. And this is how we are looking. I hope you like this one. The working space on the machine is only 11.5 inches by 19.5 inches. So it does not allow me to make a frame for that mirror. So I have this 9 3/4 inch mirror. It's old. It's an old mirror. But I decided to go ahead and do the same process with this mirror. And I made a Lotus. I am making a frame and I'm adding an LED strip. I was having problems with my phone. So I recorded this process and then I deleted the entire thing without knowing. So yeah. So basically I'm using 5 layers for this project. The mirror is sitting on 2 pieces. One is covering up the front of the mirror. And then I'm using 2 in the middle for the spacers. Then I'm placing the light going around that second layer. And then those 2 middle pieces is the spacer. Then this is the back. And I placed the cutout on the wrong side. So I had to do it on the opposite side. This is because I'm placing the white on the inside. So when the light reflects on the white, then it will bounce off. And I'll get that nice illumination that I want. Now, if I'm going to be selling this shadow box, I would not be using MDF, especially that I have to add hooks to the back. Okay, so I'm adding 2 picture frame hooks. And here's how this project turned out, guys. I hope you like this one. Somehow I left a piece of lint in there. You can see it right there. And that chip that was on the top of the mirror, it's an old mirror, so it's showing. So I like the way this light turned out. I'm not seeing any harsh lines, and that's perfect. Let's move on to our next project. I'm going to be engraving this trivet. It is 9.4 millimeters, 1/3 of an inch. I'm doing auto measure. And this is measuring the distance between the object and the laser head. So the probe is going down on the item, then it goes back to the corner to reset. Then we're also marking our working area. We're choosing the circle. So for the circle, we move it 3 times around the perimeter, and those are the 3 dots on our circle. I'm going to place my image on the inside, and I'm editing the image. I want it to be embossed. and I'm adjusting it. The contrast will take away that background. And I'm choosing grayscale. Then I'll place it in the center of my circle. My settings are 90, 600 speed, and 70 lines. Press the button on the front. It will take 13 minutes. And this is a cork trivet. And this is not actual speed. This is about 10 times fast. And it was done in almost 1 minute less than the machine said, and it did not produce a lot of dust. Here's how this project turned out, guys. I hope you like this one. Let's move on to our next project. I'm at this point right now. I'm going to open a second canvas and show you how I got there. To import your image, you press on this plus sign, and there's my image that I'm working with. I'm going to remove this top part and just use this bottom part. I'm going to double it. Okay, and I'll shrink it so I can add it to the top. I'm going to reflect it also. We're making a wall decoration. I'm choosing a shape, a rectangular shape, and this is going to be my frame. Okay, this will be the inside of my frame. So I'm going to place it right on top of my leaf, and I'm going to make sure it's overlapping the leaf. Now I'm choosing a second rectangle. It's not going to be equal on all sides, so I'm changing the dimensions. It's not perfect, but I'm just showing you what I did, okay? So it doesn't matter. After I created the two rectangular pieces, I removed them from over the leaves, and then I selected combine at overlap, and that's an option on the top. I did not get to show you that part because it took me forever to figure that out. See that piece of stem hanging below the rectangle? We're going to go in the layers on the left side, and we're just going to look for that rectangle. It says group right there, and we're going to select lock. That way we won't remove any part of the rectangle, but we're going to take away that piece. What am I doing? Okay, if you make a mistake, just press the back button and it place it right back where it was. Now I'm going to select all the parts, group them. Okay, so they move as one. Then I'm selecting them again and I'm making them compound. Then I'm going to edit the nodes. Okay, there you see all the little nodes. I'm going to highlight it, just drag the mouse around the part that I want to remove, press delete on my keyboard, and then I press done right in the top corner, and then that part is gone. Then I select unite to make it all one piece. After it's gone, then you see it's highlighted. I'm going to select cut, and then you'll see everything is joined. You see where the leaves are joined in the corner. It's a part of the frame now. So I'm going to select the part that I want to cut and the part that I want to engrave. I'm turning my object this way because this is the long way in the laser bed, okay? To the size that I want. You can go as large as 11.5 by 19. And that includes that outer rectangle. But because I already have my wood cut, I'm going to separate the pieces, ungroup them. That way I can remove that outer piece. And then that way I can move up my design. So now I only have these inner parts. Now I'll select them, group them so they move as one, and then I'll extend it back out to the size that I want. I'm going to enter the size manually. 11.5 by 18. That's how large I want it. Now I'm going to select all the corner pieces and select cut for those pieces. Ungroup them first, of course. And then for the leaf, I select engrave. Now here's my piece of wood inside. I'm framing it. And I thought it wasn't coming out good. So I stopped the machine, started it over. but as you can see right there, you can see the difference. Next time I won't stop and start it. I'll just let it continue and then I'll run it again. So for the first piece, I'm going to be using that for a second layer. Now this is gonna be my top layer. Here's my first piece. So this will add some depth. This is a learning process, guys. Now I'm gluing my two pieces together, and here's another mistake. I'm using the liquid wood glue and I'm using too much. It won't be showing on this part, but when I add the third layer, it's going to be showing. I'm going to add a third layer. And for this layer, I'm spray painting it black. And this will be the backing. And I gave that 2 coats. Now I bought my wood from the Home Depot and they cut the pieces, but as you can see on the edges, their cuts aren't perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and just mark around my flower 1 1/4 inch, and then I use my machine to cut the 3 layers. So my machine cut the 9mm piece of MDF, okay? Now I'm adding a little bit of darkness with some acrylic black paint to my piece. And here's the mistake. The glue was seeping out. So the type of glue that I'm using, I need to get the correct glue. To hang my wall decoration on the wall, I'm using a picture frame hook. Now if I'm going to be selling this piece, again, I would not use MDF. And here's how this project turned out, guys. I hope you like this one. I know this is not our regular Dollar Tree DIYs, but let me know which one is most impressive. If you're impressed with what the XTool machine can do, they're currently having their Halloween sale. So I'll leave the links in the description box below. They're affiliate links. So if you make a purchase, I'll get a small commission, okay, at no additional cost to you. Thank you so much for your support. Take care, and I'll talk to you in my next one. Bye-bye.